Yo, what's going on, guys? Today we're going to be going over the best perks to use in Call of Duty Warzone right now. As of this moment, a lot of the perks are actually glitched in the game and not doing what they're supposed to do. So I'm going to be letting you guys know which ones are like that and also going over the best perks to use. So let's get right into it. So first we're going to go over the perk 1 section. So for perk 1, we have reflexes as the first one, which is basically how flex used to be. Whenever you run past claymores, proximity mines, they are a little bit delayed and they're not going to blow up immediately. But the thing about this game is people aren't really using stuff like that. There's no longer a cluster mine in the game. Claymores aren't in the game. All there is like these things called blast traps and spring mines, and people aren't really using those. So this perk's really not that good anymore. And the other little thing it gives you is reset fuse times when picking up a live grenade. I don't know about you guys, but I'm never really getting tons of grenades thrown at me to the point where I need to be able to pick them up and throw them back at people. So yeah, this perk, it's just not that good, and I don't recommend this one at all. Heading into the next perk, we have Veteran. Veteran is one of those perks that's kind of glitched. I don't think it unlocks when it's supposed to, no matter what level you are. I think it says it stays locked. It's just glitched. But basically, it's like Tactical Mask. Whenever somebody's throwing a flash grenade or stun grenade at you, it's not as powerful. It reduces that a lot. And me personally, I'm not getting a lot of stuns or flashes thrown at me. I think a lot of people use stims now, so that's not really a thing to even worry about. Another nice little thing, though, if you're a sniper, it does reduce the amount of flinch you get as a sniper, and also you get to hold your breath longer to line up your shots. So if you're a sniper, this is a very good perk. If you're not a sniper, I don't recommend this one at all. Then for the next perk we have is Grenadier. Grenadier, basically, whenever you hold a grenade or you hold a Simtex, it lets you know exactly where it's going to hit. It shows like a little line, and it also lets you throw your grenades and stuff a little bit further. And it says another little thing is it slows enemy health regen and movement speed. So I think this can be definitely clutch, because for me at least, I like to make these gas plays at the very end game, and I like to throw a ton of grenades at the final team, and this perk definitely helps me do that, helps me throw those grenades a little further away. But it's such a niche thing. If you're not doing what I just said, then you really aren't going to need this perk at all. Heading into the next perk, we have Dexterity, which is basically Mountaineer, but now it has this added bonus of reduced weapon motion while jumping, sliding, and diving, which I haven't even noticed that much, to be honest. I don't think that's that useful, but you do take a lot less fall damage. It's not as helpful as it was when it was Mountaineer. This one's a little bit like you can't fall from as far, but it's still a very good perk. It's definitely one of the best perks. It's better than these three by far. Up next, guys, we got Scavenger. Scavenger is actually a decent little perk if you're trying to regain, because now it gives you like max ammo and max equipment whenever you're spawning in with your loadout. So you no longer have to find ammo. And if you guys know anything about this game, ammo boxes, they don't give you as much ammo. So this is definitely a useful perk. How useful is it though? It's not that useful. And you also get plates from dead enemies, but I mean everybody already has plates on them, and plates also come out of chests now. Every time you open up a chest, it's guaranteed a plate. So Scavenger, it's not that great of a perk. It's better than some of these options, but it's not that great. Then for the last perk we have is Survivor, which is a very solid perk. In this game, whenever you lose your health, it is very slow for your health to regenerate. It's not as quick as it used to be, and this perk helps with that. You're going to get your health back after 3 seconds. You're going to fully heal up, and on top of that, you're going to be able to get revived a lot faster by your teammates. So, very good perk. I personally think this one's a little bit better than Dexterity, in my opinion. I'm probably going to be using Survivor a lot, because being able to get revived by my teammates in like seconds, that's very important to me. Heading into the perk 2 category, first up we got Quartermaster, which is resupply. So you now get your equipment back over time. Every 50 seconds you get a grenade and your tactical back. And I think this one is very useful to me, because I use a lot of stims, and having stims at the end of the game is very important, because you can hold up to 4 now, so it's going to constantly build them up for you. Even if you're a movement player, it's nice to have those stims constantly coming to help you out. Stims are very powerful as well. So I think it's a very good perk, but if you're not utilizing like something like a stim, then yeah, it's not that good for you. So the next perk we have is Bomb Squad, which is like Flak Jacket. You no longer take as much damage from explosives, but like I said before, guys, I don't think we're seeing a lot of explosives right now. People aren't really spamming explosives. So I'd stay away from this perk until, something like that happens, until we see a lot of people using claymores and stuff. But yeah, that's not a very useful perk. Then we have Tracker, and Tracker is a very good perk now because it now is like they kind of combine Tracker and Combat Scout together. So if you don't know what Tracker is, it's going to show these little footsteps, which by itself is very useful to see where an enemy's going. You could chase them down a lot better because you could look down and see where their footsteps are going. You could use this in a smoke, but they combine Tracker with Combat Scout, so now whenever you shoot somebody, it's going to ping them. But it's not as powerful as Combat Scout. You know, it's not going to ping them as long, and there's a lot more of a delay. You can't just constantly spam it. But it's a solid perk for sure. Now, heading into one of the best perks that probably everybody should be using is Sprinter. You're just going to be able to run around the map infinitely as fast as you want, tack sprinting. So you can already tack sprint. You can already tack sprint. If you guys didn't know, you could pull out your melee right now by holding down the melee button, and whenever you have a melee out, you can tack sprint infinitely by itself, but you don't have your gun. You don't have your gun out, so you're going to constantly have to switch back and forth between the knife, and that can be very annoying, and it can get you killed. So Sprinter is a very good perk, man. So for the next perk we have is Cold-Blooded. Cold-Blooded is not as good as a perk as it used to be because people are no longer using smoke grenades, because smoke grenades in this game are no longer like as big and poofy as they used to be. They're like weak, and you could see through them very easily. So because of that, people aren't using thermals as often. And the whole point of Cold-Blooded is so that you don't pop up in a thermal. It makes it where you can't be seen from thermals. And people aren't using thermals. So why would you use Cold-Blooded? It does have a nice little benefit of will not trigger alertness and immunity to scrambling. And those scramblers are very annoying. It makes it where you can't see like your UAV. And that does happen pretty often, but I don't know. It's not that good of a perk still. Then for the last perk we have is Quick Fix, which I think is one of the better perks out of all of these. Definitely a good perk, but people are saying it is glitched right now. So if you don't know what Quick Fix is, whenever you kill somebody or you put on a plate, your health immediately regenerates back all the way fully, and that's very useful to have. But it's not doing that like it should be. It's kind of glitched out right now. So another little thing about Quick Fix that they added is you can now put on plates with only one hand. So you could shoot while plating and do stuff while plating. I think you could probably reload while plating and stuff. So, I mean, that by itself is a very good feature. Quick Fix is definitely a good perk. I just don't think I'm going to be using it. Then for the perk 3 category, we have the first perk coming in at Gung Ho. Gung Ho, very nice little perk to have if you want to be able to reload while tack sprinting. That's basically all it does. I don't think that is super useful to be able to reload while tack sprinting. It's definitely nice, but is it worth a whole perk slot over? Probably not. Then after that we have Resolute. I think Resolute is definitely a little bit of a better perk than Gung Ho because Resolute, whenever you're getting shot at and you're taking damage, you're going to get a 15% movement speed. So you're going to be able to run away a lot faster. So if somebody's shooting you in the back, you have a lot more time to escape from that. In terms of being aggressive too, you'll have a little bit of a movement speed advantage whenever you're getting shot and you're trying to maneuver around somebody. I think Resolute's it's one of the best perks in the game. And then we have the good old classic that everybody used to use back in the day. We got Ghost. Ghost is no longer as good as a perk for 2 reasons. The first reason is people don't use heartbeat sensors like they used to. And the second reason is Bird's Eye counters Ghost. I mean, not everybody's using Bird's Eye, but if somebody's got like Specialist or just finds it off the ground, then they can still see you regardless if you have Ghost on or not. So just that perk alone kind of killed Ghost. So unless you're just trying to be a stealthy player and stay off the map, Ghost isn't really a good perk. Speaking of Bird's Eye, that is what the next perk is, and Bird's Eye is definitely a perk you want to stay away from. I mean, it does let you see ghosted players, and it does make your UAVs a little bit better, but it also makes your UAVs worse. Now, normally with UAVs, you get to see a little arrow that's pointing upwards. That means somebody's above you, or an arrow pointing downwards on the little dot itself. There's a little arrow pointing downwards, which means there's a player below you. But what Bird's Eye does is it gets rid of those arrows and you get to see the direction somebody's facing, which is nowhere near as important as getting to know what level they're on. And Bird's Eye completely stops that. So it's basically making your UAVs worse. It's not a good perk. Stay away from that one. Then coming in as a perk that you can never go wrong with. I mean, just an absolute, you can't even say anything bad about this perk. You got Tempered, man. Whenever you're putting a plate on, you 2 plates count as 3 plates now. So you no longer have to put on as many plates. And in this game, you only have 6 plates. So unless you find unless you find the armor satchels around the game, which lets you hold a lot more plates, you by default you only have 6 plates. So this perk's definitely useful with the armor plate situation that we're in right now. And also, you know, in terms of just gunfights, being able to just pop 2 plates real quick instead of having to put on all 3, it's definitely going to save you in a lot of fights. Definitely a W perk. And then for the final perk we have is alertness, which is just like high alert. You get a little ping whenever somebody's staring at you, so you get a couple seconds to know before you get shot in the back. You get a little bit of a split second to know, and you know, it'll show like if they're looking at you on the left, it'll be like an orange highlight. If they're looking behind you, you get like an orange highlight on the bottom of your screen, and it also tells you when you're being aimed at also now. So footsteps are terrible in this game. Alertness is definitely a very great perk that you could use. Me personally though, guys, I'm going to be rocking Resolute as my first perk of choice. And for my second perk of choice, I'm going to be probably running Quartermaster. That's a little weird one for me. If I'm not making gas plays, I'm going to be using Sprinter. And then for my final perk, which is perk 1, I'm going to be using Grenadier a lot because of what I told you guys earlier. And if I'm not using that, I'll use Survivor or Dexterity. Those are my perks of choice. I appreciate you guys, man. I hope this video helped you out. I hope it helps you build your loadouts a little bit better now that you know about, you know, what perks are best to use. I'll see you guys in another one.